first. Remember how, like in the stomach and intestines and all that, like a region versus a part of the wall? So let's look here first. Compare this to this over here. Just the right model. Lost a little things to it. What structure is this right here? First of all, uterus. You take this out, and by the way, what is that? A lot of people don't look at it from this perspective. If this is the uterus, this is the vagina, and here's your urinary bladder. So if you pop it off, it looks a little bit different. First of all, in this model, what region of the uterus is going to be up here? Fundus. What about over here? You see how most females, the uterus, like they call it anti-flexion, is tilted over. Every now and again, it sits upright. But the bottom line is the fundus is just like in the stomach, the rounded part up here. Then you have what region? The body. And then right here, or right here, the neck, the uterus. Okay. If it asks for what layer of the uterine wall is this, or this, perimetrium, around, what layer? The myo, M for muscle, M for middle. And then in this case they have it white. In this one they depict it red, indicating vascularization. The endometrium, endo within. That's where the blastocyst implants right like there into the endometrium. What space is this? Uterine cavity. What space is that right there? A little harder, it would be right there. There in this guy.
Is that internal
os? Os just means opening. And then you've got what space is that? Or would be here. We're in the cervix, so the cervical canal. And then opening into the vagina, what space is that? The external os, which you would also see right there. And then this space, or this recess here, the fornix or lateral fornix. And then you're in the vagina. What structure, although this is not a great model, what structure of the vagina would these ridges be here? Rugae. They show you over here, little ridges going down. What part of the fallopian tube is this? Isthmus. What part of the fallopian tube would that be? Ampulla. You notice too on this model they have the sperm heading over towards the oocyte here. That's where fertilization is supposed to take place, in the ampulla. Then when it kind of widens into this funnel shape. Not yet. Infundibulum, so all this is the infundibulum. The little finger-like tips literally sweep the egg in. Those are your fimbriae. So if it's way down here, it's fimbriae. If it's right up here, right in the middle of the infundibulum. Okay, what structure is this? This is probably the best. You can see it on these too. Ovaries, ovarian ligament. If you look on here, there it is right there, right next to the fallopian tube. There's your ovarian ligament right there. So a couple places where you can see it. This is probably the best place to see this. What is number 12?
broad
The broad ligament, which is really peritoneum material, but that's the broad ligament. Right there. All right. Have an ovary here. We'll start from the beginning. Number 2 here is depicting what? I would accept primordial, or that I think in the key they're probably looking for primary follicles. Okay. What about number 3? And again, it's the idea, if you know the sequence, it becomes, if this is primary, here it's getting more mature, so it's secondary. And I thought one of them, some of them had an arrow going to both of these maybe, but okay. Then over here, number 4 has arrows going to here, just indicating stages of development, early versus late. Graphian follicle, the big antrum over here, space. And then here they're depicting what event? Ovulation. Egg, secondary. At this point, here, what possibly could you call that oocyte right there? You could, but could you say primary? You really could, because you don't know how close it is to here. Over here, if they're depicting an early stage Graphian follicle, you know the oocyte is a primary oocyte. So you don't finish meiosis 1 until right at the time of ovulation. They coincide with one another. You spit out a secondary oocyte. How many chromosomes? 23. 23 haploid number of chromosomes. Over here, the egg has just met the egg. What do you call that? I would really accept 2 answers for this. It's when the sperm penetrates the outer layer of cells, it stimulates meiosis 2, and now you're calling it an ovum for the first time. If you put secondary oocyte over here, that would be acceptable too, but they're calling that an ovum right there. By the time you're over here, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg have united and merged, so now you've got a zygote. So how many chromosomes right here? 46. This is the first cell of the new person. By the time, it takes close to a week for the egg, if it's fertilized, to get over here. So by the time you're over here, it's been dividing mitotically, lots of different cells. But here we'll just call that the zygote. Over here, what cell is that depicting? Here's a sperm making its way over yonder. Same kind of thing here. If it's penetrated these outer cells, now it's an ovum. If it hasn't penetrated, it's still a secondary oocyte. It's all about the timing and how far along meiosis is going.